Hi, I'm Lisa Andria, Transformation Life Coach. Welcome to the Ladies Who Leap podcast, where guests share their inspiring stories of leaping out of their comfort zone with confidence and power, and into a life of purpose and fulfillment. Let's listen to their life-changing stories so that we can all learn how to gain the courage to take a leap of faith into a life that we love so that we can all be ladies who leap. Welcome to the Ladies Who Leap podcast. Let's get started. Welcome to the Ladies Who Leap podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the inspiring stories of people who took a leap of faith to reach new heights in their life. My goal is that their stories inspire you to take the first steps of many to follow your own unique dreams. So today I have the honor of introducing you to Rossi Manka. I'd like to welcome you, Rossi Manka.
Thank you.
Rossi, a wife and mother to 3 energetic boys, who also finds enjoyment in serving her community when it comes to education, justice, and social services. Rossi says everyone that knows her says she is an encourager through life-giving words that lifts others out of whatever negative emotion or situation they are in. A great talent. Rossi holds an Associate of Science in Civil Engineer Technology, a bachelor's in Construction Management and Trades, is a state licensed insurance agent, and a certified life coach and mentor. She spent 10 years as a civil engineer and CAD technician in both the public and private sector, and is now living a life of entrepreneurship, ministry, education, and writing. Her latest book release is called A Woman Unshakable in Christ. In fact, we just realized this morning it is exactly 1 year this month that it was released. So there's a bit of a celebration and an anniversary there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome, Rossi. I'm really excited to have
Yes.
you on. I'm excited to hear about your leaps, your faith, and how it has driven you. Now, from our conversation,
Yes.
you talked about a subject that I'm very familiar with. Working in a corporate tech job, that you have
Mhm.
amazing degrees. You've done some amazing
Yes.
work in the corporate tech job and in the corporate world for many years until you realized it wasn't what you were meant to do. And that's about finding your purpose and passion. So that's
Yes.
amazing. Can you
Yes.
talk to what led you to take that leap and the steps you took to transition to a more fulfilling career?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to start as a little girl, and that's actually how my book sort of starts in the first chapter. And I remember a time when I was, gosh, about like 8 or 9 years old, and I was outside of my home, and there was the post from the fence line, but the fence panel wasn't there, so it was just the abandoned post. And I would stand in front of the abandoned post, and I would sing, right? And I would pretend I was this like famous person, and then I would pretend like people were chanting Rossi, Rossi, and I was like this little girl with such ambition and dream, right? And then the world kicked in, right? Things happened, and I grew up and I became this bitter and this angry teen. And so, like, my life spiraled down a rabbit hole quite quickly. And so, I leaped out of that pit that I created for myself. And that was through my faith. So my book is my faith journey about how all of that happened. And so when I came out of all of that, I went into the engineering construction world. And as I was in that industry, I realized quickly, like after gaining the confidence, after learning the trades, after being very successful in that industry, I realized that I hadn't quite healed from a lot of the trauma that I faced in those prior decades of my life. And so I went on this faith and healing journey. And as I was healing, and I was like in these women groups, and I was just captivated about like everyone's faith journey, their stories, and like what God does for us. And so I was like in the trades, and I was building this confidence, and I was building the corporate ladder. And then I said, wait a minute. Like I'm growing, I'm healing, I'm excited for life, I'm so ambitious. And like I had my heart like was lacking and it felt like I'm climbing the ladder, but yet my community is still suffering. So how can I go back and really bridge the gap to help people understand in my community that, yeah, we go through these hurdles, these challenges, these unfair things in life, but we can still come out. We can still come out cleaner, stronger, healthier together. And when I realized that, I'm like, no, I have to go back. I have to go back and just if I can just save one person that I know it was like so worth it. And it's been 2 years now, and I don't regret leaping, being a lady who leaped off of that cliff and just said, you know what? I'm going back to go help somebody else in my community be a better person. Wow. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I'm going to say wow because your higher purpose came to you at a moment and you had the courage to go for
Yeah.
it. That's what
Yeah.
passion and purpose is about. Where did you get that? I mean, and I know a lot of it has to do with your faith, but the fact that
Yes.
you really wanted to go back to helping community, which is so important, and you want to
Mhm.
give back, where did that courage come from? Because it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I think mainly as I was in my career, we worked for the state. So we're a government entity through the state. And as I was on the speakers bureaus panel, we would have opportunities to go into public schools. I participated in a girls' day of showing girls that they can grow to be engineers or women in the trades, that they could pursue their dreams. And then I went to a Miller Park is our stadium in Milwaukee, and we had a STEM fair. So I was working with youth there, and then I would go to other high schools and I would spend the day with these teens, and it was just so fulfilling. And at one point, they even sent us to have to vendor a table because I worked in the water industry. So then I vendored a table that had to do with water, sewers, and how like the water process works, the cleaning of the water. And but they picked me to be a part of this panel discussion. And wow, like the questions that were asked and then the deep dive, a lot of the people on that panel discussion were people from the community that grew, that fulfilled their dreams or like went after education and came back to support their community. And so it was just really fulfilling to be able to share my story and inspire the people in the audience. And at that time, I was scared because there was about, I want to say more than 100 people in the audience. And I remember looking at the audience and wanting to puke and run out of there. And I had never really like shared my story among so many people and also be able to talk about my career journey. And then so when it was over, I thought I did terrible. I was like, my face was red. And then so many people came came up to me after, and they were like, wow, you really inspired me. You really helped me and gain confidence and just pursue my passion and know who I am. And I'm just like, wow, thank you for that. And I was like, because I was really nervous. And so more and more I was being invited to these outreach events. And then I just knew. And then with my faith connection and just knowing how God aligns everything, I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. But now it was like, okay, now I gotta take the steps in this other endeavor because I've been 10 years here. Now I have to take that leap, and have faith that it's going to be okay.
Now, usually first of all, before I even ask the next question,
Sure.
how, if you don't want to say your age or whatever, but I want to let people who are listening that can't see Rossi to know how
Yeah.
old you are. How old are you? Or how
Yes,
young
yes.
are you?
So I am 34.
Okay. So I want everyone to hear the fact that at any age, whether you are older and it takes time, but even at a young age, to be able to take that
Absolutely.
leap and to hear the messages. You were put in situations that
Yes.
allowed God as your as the person that you, or the beliefs that you have.
Yes.
Other people believe the universe brings you opportunities. Someone was telling you from beyond, this is what you were meant to do in your life. This is who you were meant to be. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited because I want younger women to understand that that download from God or
Yes.
whatever is your higher purpose, higher being that you believe in, can happen at any age. And it is amazing when it happens at a young age.
Yeah,
So
you're never too young to serve. You're never too old to serve. We all have something. We all have a gift, right? We're all born with gifts and talents. And I always say God knew you even before you were born. That's my mantra. And I'm just like, you're perfectly, beautifully made. God knew you. You have gifts, talents, uniqueness. I always say the fingerprints, right? That's why none of us have the same fingerprints because we're all different and unique. So, yes.
I love everything that you've got to say, and I know the listeners are too. So, who is it? We were starting to talk about how scary it was to take the
Yeah.
step. Who was it that supported you, gave you support and help, and either mentoring? How did that, who was it that helped you with that?
Yes. So, as we all know, God, number one. But as going into there and finding a community of people to support, I knew that I needed to change my relationships, right? And not that I had to step away from anyone, but I knew that if I wanted to be this businesswoman, then go I need to find these business people, right? Make the relationships, the connections with them. If I knew that I wanted to be in discipleship, then I went and made connections with people of faith, people in the discipleship. And so I found this group called the Fellowship of Extraordinary Women, FEW, and it is, wasn't it? The women in faith, family, and business. And so I'm like, wow. So now I started seeing myself as this woman in business, as this entrepreneur, as this faith-filled leader, as a woman that has a voice. And then I started seeing my young self again, and being able to be with this group of women that supported one another, that didn't compete but completed one another, helped us just elevate one another higher to that next level, to where we needed to be. And we're still growing, and we're always learning in life, so we're never done learning, but we're still there to support one another and help one another and say, hey, you can write a book. Hey, you can be a speaker. Hey, you can be a businesswoman. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be an engineer. Whatever it is that you have your mind and heart set to, you have a gift. And anything is possible with God, I always say. So that is that support system that I found. And it's just been incredible. And I'm still with them today. And we're doing our visionary for 2025. So I can't wait for that.
A community of women is so important. I
Yes.
always stress that. And that is really what gave you the courage to be able to go forward. So that's amazing. And the fact that
Yes.
you're still with
Yes.
them and that you're still
Mhm.
continuing and that you know what it is. I love that you connected it to the fact that you went back to yourself as a child and it was something you knew. So you really knew that this is what you were meant to do, but you just had to go through some things and then have
Yes.
it. I kind of say, in my sense, I say spirit guides, but God probably was speaking to you a little softly, like saying, this is the way
Yeah.
you need to go. And then all of a sudden it was shouting because you were getting all the opportunities to speak and go, listen to me. This is what you were meant to do. And I'm
Absolutely.
bringing you people in your life and
Oh,
opportunities so you can figure that out on your own, so that you can
yes.
see what it is that you're meant to do.
And I want to add to that, Lisa, real quick, because God did call me out in an audible voice. And so it was a time in my life where I was recovering. I was just getting myself back together. That time I was going through a divorce, 3 children. I was in my home alone because the children were with their fathers, and it was nighttime, middle of the night, and I was sleeping, and I heard my name. And I kind of like woke up thinking it was a dream, but then went right back to sleep. And then my name was called again. And I was like, what? is going on? I'm like, am I crazy? But this time I like open my eyes and then I'm like, no, I'm dreaming. So I shut my eyes and I go back to bed. And then all of a sudden I hear Rossi. And I'm like, I sit up in bed and I'm like, who is here calling me? And I heard the voice say, get to work. And right there, I got the goosebumps and I knew it was my Heavenly Father. And I was like, oh my gosh, God, okay. Like I knew what that meant. When he said get to work, that's the three words. That's it. That's all I needed. And I knew, okay, I know what I need to do. And that's where that education, that entrepreneurship, and that ministry was birthed from. So,
I got
yes.
goosebumps listening to the story. I mean, I still
Oh,
have them. I'm like, oh my God.
yes.
When we first spoke, I could see that you had a high sense of self and a high sense of confidence, even in your 30s, which is, I mean, you're a step above a lot of women in your particular age group,
Sure. Thank
actually.
you.
So, can you explain who played a big part in helping you get to that level of courage? And you've
Mm.
talked a little bit about courage, but just even the confidence that you have.
Yeah, yeah. You know, something about being in a male-dominated field will pull it out of you when you are surrounded by construction men. And it is what it is, right? I'm gonna say it. And like it pulls it out of you. It's like I have to step up and I will say it this way. Don't try to fake yourself to be like them. Use your femininity as power and step up and be a voice. Be yourself. And I like listened. I stayed quiet. I didn't need to prove myself, right? I'm like, I'm going to listen. I'm going to study like you have no business, that one niche that I need to study to make myself stand out. And then when it was like time for me to shine, oh, I shined and I like gained the confidence, the courage. And then before I knew it, like whenever there was somebody new, especially a female that would come into the trades, I would say, come on, let's talk. And so I would talk and I would give them the little tips. And so it was just like it was just pulled out of me. Like I learned, and it's like going into battle. Hey, you either make it or I don't want to say make it or fake it, but either you lose or you win. And so it's like I'm not going to lose here, so I'm going to pick up my armor and I'm going to get to work and I'm going to be tough in this battle. And it was like the confidence that I needed. I desperately needed it. Growing up with a single mom, my father in and out of our lives, him going through his own things, and then being abused by men physically, mentally, sexually. I had no confidence. I had no courage. I couldn't even look a man in the eye. I would like see like, and especially if they're taller, I would look down and I would get so nervous and I would say, God, why am I so nervous? Why can't I talk to a man without feeling shamed? And I'm like, something's got to change. And I feel like God just bloop, put me in that male dominated role, that construction environment where you're going to learn that confidence. You're going to face your fears. And oh, did I face my fears? And I shamed men that were perverts. I'm going to say it.
You
You know
know,
what I mean?
this is such an amazing story. I actually have a couple people I know that are going to need to listen to this podcast when
Yes.
it's released because
Yes.
a lot of women look at it as such a negative thing to be in a male dominated industry. And they get,
Yeah.
they get the sexual harassment. I mean,
Yes.
everything happens. They get where they say something and they're not heard and all of that. You took it as a completely the opposite. You used it so that it would make you stronger and that it would
Yes.
make you feel better and use your femininity and get your
Yes.
voice heard and get what you needed in life, which then eventually led to what you're doing today. That is
Yes.
something to really, really listen to. I want you, everybody, rewind and listen to
Yes.
it again because from you hadn't spoken about your background and your childhood, and we got a little snippet of that.
Yes.
So thank you for being vulnerable because that is a way to build up other people and help them to understand you don't need to have a perfect life to have a perfect future. You can overcome
Yes.
what has happened to you. And it does, it's again, like you said, with how your beliefs in God, we were meant to go through things to teach us lessons, to be able to help others or to be able to help ourselves to have
Yeah,
success and to be happy in
absolutely.
life, right? It is
Absolutely.
unfortunate when we have to go through these things. However,
Yeah.
it's part of our path.
Yes.
Life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. So that's what I
Absolutely.
say.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
leading to what it is that you do with clients, what are some of your methods? What is it that you work with them on? And can you share like a success story with a client that kind of has always stayed with you, even if it's somewhere where you
Yeah.
spoke and someone said something to you, like the ones you were talking about on your very first time?
Yeah. Wow. I was just looking back at the year prior and the year that we are in the current year. And yesterday, I was at the entrepreneurship event. It was like a conference for entrepreneurs and for local sponsors to come and support local entrepreneurs. So I'm part of this network, and I'm actually an entrepreneur coach affiliated with them. And yesterday, as I was gazing around the conference room and I seen all the vendors, I recognized the entrepreneurs that I coached and gave them encouragement to continue on. And I saw one and I seen him and I go, oh my gosh, he looks familiar. So like I leap up and I go over. I'm so excited because I'm happy that I see him here, still in operation, still in business, has his brand out. And that connection was partly through me, through the BizStarts network. And so I leap up, I go over there and I say, are you so and so? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, do you remember me? And he's like, yeah, your name looks familiar. And I go, I'm your coach. And he was like, oh yeah. I was like, I was your coach months ago. I think this was like in April sometime. And so I said, can I just give you a hug? And he's like, yeah. So he gives me a hug. And it's just so good and so inspiring to see the entrepreneurs that I coached and helped through their business process, to see them flourish, to see them out at these vendoring events, to see the sponsors pour into. It's just amazing. And there's countless stories like that where I just a little bit of encouragement goes a long way and they're flourishing or blooming. It's just so awesome to see that.
Wonderful. Oh my God. So what
Yes.
is it? Where do you get your clients? I mean, do you work with a certain group? It kind of sounds a little like that. Can you give us an idea of how you get your clients and what you do with them?
Yes, yes. So I have two specific organizations. So through Journey to Alignment Coaching, that is entrepreneur coaching and technology coaching. And I partner with Milwaukee local organizations to get my clients. So like I said before, BizStarts, and then there may be people from Few that need some technology help. There's Facebook groups, Milwaukee Facebook groups that I connect with people, other authors that need help with their book promotions or like the technology pieces. So I do work on the entrepreneur side, technology side with Journey to Alignment Coaching. And this year, I moved all of my community give backs and like my community outreach to rossimanka.com. And that's the Unshakable Faith Ministry. So I kind of separated the two. And now I'm able to go speak. I'm able to talk about my book. I went to alternative schools, alternative high schools, women's care centers, transitional living centers to help people that are going through whatever it is when they were in homeless situations. And I'm able to speak, and do faith coaching through those groups there. And it's so fulfilling to be able to help people be built up in faith wherever they are in life, through my experiences and through my coaching certifications, and then through that whole technology background and business background that I have to be able to do that at Journey to Alignment.
Because I'll tell you, especially when we get older and it's the first time we've been an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, it's myself, I can say technology
yeah,
is it's scary. So
yes,
having someone that not only knows how to do all of the technology, but has that compassion and
yes.
drive to help someone with fulfilling their dreams, it's like a great combination that you have.
Yeah. And the patience, yeah. Yes. So I started
Sure.
something called, yeah, and I started something called the Destiny Starter Package. And that is if somebody has a new idea or they want to be an entrepreneur and they need help navigating through the processes, if or they need to be built up with confidence, but also in their business, it's like put all together pleasantly for this Destiny Starter Package, starting your purpose and destiny, and eventually leaping out of your career, but doing all the preliminary work. So,
So do you actually have clients just from the Milwaukee area, or are you able to talk to people across the country? Because, we have this wonderful thing called Zoom and other
yes,
video
yes,
methods of speaking to each other.
absolutely. Yes. I take people in the US, have not gone global yet, but yes, definitely nationally over Zoom, and then Milwaukee locally.
So you're doing something that you love, and a lot of people
Yes.
aspire to do that. How does that make you feel, and what cost do you think would have come if you had not pursued that and taken that leap of faith?
Wow. It's, if I would not have taken that leap of faith, I would not have seen the transition in my family like I do now. I would not have seen the transition in the close network of people that I'm with, that I network with, like their changes in their lives and like their growth. People just, I think the biggest thing is the transition, the change and the growth, and being stagnant. Some people need that go, and they don't know what that go is. And so I feel like in my life, I've really helped people to start, whether that's a word of encouragement, whether that is the process or the roadmap, or whether that's teaching, tutoring, coaching, mentoring, really starting people and then seeing them flourish after that. So a lot of people would still be at that start line, but never hear that it's time to go.
See, and when I just think about this, I asked the cost of you not doing that. You didn't center it on yourself. You really feel that the cost is that you wouldn't have been able to help people find their
Yeah,
dreams. And that says a lot about
absolutely.
you as a human being.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
thank
celebrate you.
you. Thank
So,
you.
lastly, before we have you share specifics, and I'll put all the information about how to reach you, I always ask my guests to share their favorite quote, mantra, positive affirmation, prayer, poem, whatever it is, because I know that even if even one person listens to this and is inspired by these words, that we've done our job, right?
Yeah,
So, what do you
yeah.
have in store for us today?
Yeah, my favorite mantra is that, and it's from Joyce Meyer, and it is you can be pitiful or powerful, but you can't be both. And I love it.
You can be pitiful or powerful. Is that what you said? Because I think it
Yep.
picked out.
You can be pitiful, like pitiful, or powerful, but you can't be both.
I like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So choose powerful.
Yeah, yeah, choose powerful. It's okay to grieve. Yeah, of course, it's okay to feel saddened. But when we park in a place of pain, then we never move forward. So do what you got to do and then start.
And I love when you say start because it's one step. You don't
Yes.
need to, and there's something that I say, you don't need to go from point A to point B. Just
Yeah.
start with point A. And
Yes.
you'll be amazed that as you start up and taking those baby steps, that they turn into bigger steps, and then you're at the top of the mountain and you're going, okay, what other mountain can I climb now?
Yeah,
Actually got up
exactly.
to the first one, I can do another one, and I can just keep
Yes.
going, right?
And you can climb Mount Everest.
Yeah. Oh God, Rossi, I'm so happy that you joined today. I know that a lot of people are
Yeah.
going to listen to you and get some
Yeah.
inspiration. And then if they want to work with you and learn more, we're going to tell us right now some simple places that they can reach you. I'll put a lot of information in the description. So let them
Yeah.
know what it is, how they can reach you.
Yeah, so www.rossimanka.com, www.journey with the number 2 alignmentcoaching.com, where you can just find me on social media, Rossi Manka, and you should be able to find me. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be really easy. And I'll
Yeah.
put all of this out there on, for
Yes.
you to see and for you guys to
Mhm.
read in the description. So thank you
Absolutely.
again. Oh my gosh,
Yes,
this is
thank you.
really
I'm so
fun.
excited.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for having me, Lisa.
And thank you to the listeners. I
Mhm.
know that you got some inspirational words and storytelling from Rossi today. So I know that it will help you to go further and take your first step. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe. I have 2 new podcasts on the 1st and the 8th of every month, and I just love being able to share this wonderful stories to help you follow your own dreams. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much for listening or watching. Please subscribe to the Ladies Who Leap podcast to be notified of new episodes. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know what works, what doesn't, and if you have a story to tell, please reach out. Come join the Leap community at the Ladies Who Leap Club Facebook group. Remember, leaping out of your comfort zone is where the growth happens.